Sorry, just getting my juice.
Hey, what's up, crew? Welcome to episode 17 of DIY Mixers Crew. Today we have a special guest, Kris WK. How you doing today, Kris?
Doing great, man.
Awesome. Glad to have you on the show today. We're going to talk a little bit of flavors. We're going to talk a little bit of everything. But we're gonna discuss the peppermint mocha cappuccino challenge that we had. A few recipes a lot of people were throwing on. I know some of the Aussies were getting involved in that also. So kudos to that. I'm glad for them guys to jump on board and give us their take on that. I know that's not a big drink over there in Australia, but they say it's their best. I haven't had a chance to mix up their renditions of that, but we'll discuss those. Also, we're going to talk a little bit of flavors. I got some more Mullenberry flavors in I'm going to talk about today. Make sure, as always, you check out www.liquidbarn.com and use code MixersCrew and get 15% off your code order. You get free shipping over $50. And also DMC6 at www.bullcityflavors.com and get 6% off your code order. So how you doing today, Kris? Tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and what brought you to vaping and shit,
Pretty much my kids are the things that brought me into vaping anyways. Just been smoking forever since probably I was 18 and I'm 30 now. I just stopped smoking like 5 years ago. But yeah, just got sick of paying the prices, even though I wanted all that premium juice. And that's kind of what got me into looking into mixing. And started talking to a few guys at a vape shop around my area, and they kind of were the ones that got me into it. And I'm glad they did because it's been a long, wild ride since then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
First of all, welcome, Kris. And how long have you been mixing?
It's going on 3 years now. Once we get into 2018, it'll be about 3 years. So
cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
What are your favorite profiles?
Bakeries, fruit bakeries, desserts, RY4s. Those are pretty much my favorites right there. Strawberry and cream's probably my go-to when I don't have anything else I want to vape. The easiest one, anyways.
Cool. So
yeah, we were talking.
Go ahead, David.
No, I was saying that me and Kris were bullshitting last night for a little bit. We were zooming it up a little bit, and he said he's a big fan of cookies.
Oh yeah,
really
like
loves
one of my
cookies.
favorites.
I mean, is it cool if we bust out some of your recipes? Look at some of your recipes.
Yeah.
Is that cool with you?
Totally fine, man.
All right, awesome. So go ahead, full cart. Sorry about that.
Oh, I was just gonna ask him what his favorite strawberries and cream recipe is.
I mean, my own is my favorite, but that's just because it's mine.
And
but as far as all,
that's an excellent reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but as far as the ones that I've
which
had
one
out
is
in the
is
community,
that? Which one is that?
Oh, it's called Milk Spy. It's called Milk Spy. I released it not too long ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I checked that one out, dude. It looked really good. I'm gonna have to give it a mix.
Yeah, it's a tasty.
Yeah, I like the way the whole recipe looked. I didn't get a chance to mix it up yet, but hopefully I will soon. Now that I'm done with my extracurricular activities, thank God it's been 6 months long. Yeah, football season's finally over. Thank God. 6 months, man. But we came with the championship today. I'm sure you guys don't care because this is mixing. This isn't like talking about my life, but it's all said and done, man. So finally, we're done. We got the championship. Wrong at home. Yeah, 12-0, man. Undefeated. Yeah,
awesome.
We did this year, man. But that's all said and done. Now I can put a lot of focus and time more into my recipe development and stuff like that because that ate up a huge amount of time in my life. And so that today was the last day. So thank God.
Yeah, as far as anyways, back on that, my very first premium juice was unicorn milk, and that's pretty much why I'm so hooked on strawberry and creams, because that was the very first one I ever had, and it was so good that I don't know. That's all I started buying. That's all I was buying for the longest period of time. Mother's milk was another one, but I didn't really care for that one so much. I like the mother's milk mother's milk and cookies. I like that one over that one any day. So, but yeah, strawberries and cream. I don't know. I bake at my own house, so that's why I'm so into bakeries and all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Nice.
I was looking to your Milk Spy, and I will definitely give it a try because it looks very, very nice.
Yeah, it's real tasty. Like I said, I tried to emulate unicorn milk in that one, but I didn't want to do a clone. I just wanted to do the same basic profile.
Well, unicorn milk definitely has some custard. You don't have custard in your recipe, but it seems very, very nice.
Yeah, it's got a nice little kind of cookie note to it in the background of that custard. It's kind of like an accent. That's why I always liked unicorn milk. The strawberry is real good too. It's real sugary. That's just my thing. Artificial sugary strawberry.
What's your favorite cookie?
Favorite cookie flavoring? Right?
Yes.
Probably Cap Sugar Cookie and JF Cookie for sure. Those are two of my all-time favorites. I started kind of playing around with TFA oatmeal cookie, but that's not really. It's really difficult to get an actual oatmeal cookie out of it. But yeah, I've started to kind of dabble in peanut butter cookies too, because that's like one of my favorite things of Christmas. We have little peanut butter cookies with the Hershey Kisses in them, and I love them. But yeah, flavor art cookie, obviously that's a given. But I always like JF over that one ever since I tried it.
I never tried the JF. I'm gonna be looking into that one. I might even have
really
it. I don't
good.
know. There's so many flavors that I got to freaking. I accidentally overorder them sometimes. Like I'll order it and then forget I have it because I don't put it in my inventory, and then I end up ordering it again, which is whatever.
Well, just send them my way. Just send the extras my way, David.
I'm not saying I won't use them, but it's like I said, it's been so frustrating the past 6 months. Now that I'm all done with that, I can focus more on entering my flavor stash and all that stuff. So, but I'm still really digging DIY flavor. Was it Flavor Supply?
Oh, Vapor Supply.
Yeah, dude. Like I put an order in. It was funny because I think I put it in Thursday or Wednesday, and it said for the USPS shipping, it said it was coming on Saturday, and then it showed up Friday. So I was like, holy shit! Like they're just so fast. Wow. Like their shipping, it's like unreal.
Where are they?
Yeah, they're really good at Michigan, I think.
Yes,
sure.
Yes, because I remember they go to either like some kind of hub or something, and it must get flown in or something. I have no clue. Nice. Down into Pittsburgh or something. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, they're kick ass as far as their shipping. I've never had an issue so far with them as far as out of stocks. I mean, I'm not knocking Bull City flavors, but it seems like lately, like every time I go on there, they're out of stock on something, and it pisses me off. Because like there's certain flavors that I have to order. There's certain flavors that I have to re-up on, and there's always that one or two that's out of stock that I really need. And I'm like, what the fuck, man? Like, and it's like, it's one of those things where, yeah, I get it, but it's one of those things where, I want to order from them, but yet it forces me to go someplace else because it's like, I'm not going to go to a different vendor just to get those 2 extra flavors and pay that $6 to $10 shipping just for those 2 flavors. Like for me personally, I just want to go to one company, get the 20 or 30 or 40 flavors, whatever I need to re-up on, get it all in one place. That way I'm not paying that, that double shipping. I mean, because that's
the dream, man. That's the dream.
$10. Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, granted, I get it. You get free shipping over a certain amount, but sometimes I don't need that amount. Like, you know what I mean? I don't need, $100 worth of flavors, every time I order. It's just onesies, twosies, or whatever. David, and that extra $10 that you're paying for shipping flavor or extra flavors. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to ask you, does DIY Vapor Supply have a lot of different vendors? I mean, do they carry basically everything that say Bull City Flavors does? Because I've never ordered from them.
Screen share. No, screen share. Go to www.diyvaporsupply.com. Screen share it, and they carry a lot. And there's a lot of a few companies that I think what we're going to be talking about, the peppermint mocha cappuccino here shortly, about some of the recipes that we're doing with that profile. But one of the Aussies, he's using maybe Pippa. I seen Pippa in there. Maybe she can touch base on this. There's a flavor company. It was VT or something he was using. It's only available, I think, in the UK and Australia.
Oh, yeah. The Vape Train.
Yes,
Vape Train.
And but that's the thing with them. There's like, I want to say 5 or 6 other different vendors on there that you usually don't see from like on ECX or ECX Express or Bull City. Like they have them. You know what I mean? The only thing that's weird about it is out of all of the companies, the flavor vendors out there that either rebottle or sell concentrates, DIY Vapor Supply is the only company that words them different, like abbreviates them different. Like you'll see like TFA, I think it's like a goofy
it's DIY apprentice.
Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Like, yeah, you think it's something new, but it's like they abbreviate it different. And it's funny. You figure they would get on the same page because even ATF, all the flavors, even use the same abbreviations as the vendors, and it kind of I guess will get people confused, thinking it might be a different flavor. You know what I mean? But that might be just the way they do it, and the people that use that might be used to that too. You know what I mean? So
might have been something with a company a long time ago too. I always thought that. when I seen that weird name.
Well, yeah, they've been around for a while. I know I talked to a few other mixers in the community, they like even some of the old school flavors they still stock that like other places don't even carry.
That was the very first place I ever got Cat Marshmallow V1 from.
Yeah, I think it might have been you that said that about Cat V1.
They also have the original butter, I'm pretty sure, on there too.
Yeah, it's like they carry like shit from like fucking like back in the day, like, you know what I mean? It's but like I don't did you pull that up, folk? Or?
Yeah, I'm looking at the different vendors that they have or the different companies they have. I've never heard of Bickford flavors. I've never heard of that.
That's an older one too.
Fairy's Finest.
Well, I was thinking some of them might be either out of the country or one shots, or see, that's the thing. Like, I guess like when I first started my DIY journey, I was like again, I was like with that e-liquid cigarette form or whatever, ECF. Like I would like just go on there and I would go with the mainstream flavor vendors. Like, you know what I mean? Like some of the flavors that people use in other countries and whatnot. Like I really didn't go to them.
Yeah, and there's not enough reviews too for them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and when somebody's spending their money and putting, I mean, I know $3 or $4 isn't a lot, but you know, if you're ordering 30 or 40 flavors at a time, you know, that adds up, you know, $100 and some, you know, and like you said, Kris, if there's not too many people that use them or there's not that many reviews out there in the community, it's one of those roll the dice things saying, hey, are these even safe for me? Or like what's in these fucking things? Or does anybody ever try them? You know, but I'm at the stage in my mixing career in DIY that I don't care. Like if it's something that's new that nobody has ever tried before, I jump on it and I will buy it. So some of those companies that you do see on DIY that website, I will purchase. Like the one that Folk Art just mentioned, I probably will pick them up unless there's really shitty reviews on them. You know what I mean?
Guys, I'm getting a lot of noise background sound.
There's a strange noise going on.
Is that a fan or something going? Or I don't know.
It's my heater.
Oh, it is?
It's my furnace right here.
Okay.
It's all good.
It's cool.
I'll wait.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, it's annoying. It's just that my little man cave setup is in the basement because I got pushed to the basement. So
hey, at least you have a man cave,
right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, if you guys have any questions out there in the chat, make sure you tag us at DIY Mixers Crew. That way we know that you're asking us a question. I did see Pippa in there, in the chat. I did send you a PM today, Pippa. I don't know if you got it. You did post your peppermint mocha challenge on ATF. I did message you, ask you if I could share it on the DIY Mixers Crew Facebook group. And I didn't really look at my messages yet because I just literally just walked in a door from earlier today.
Yeah, if Pippa can post that in the chat there, I can bring it up if y'all want to talk about it.
Yeah, that's up to her. I mean, she's like, the thing is, I really like the way. Wait, I gotta sneeze. Maybe. I really like how she worded it in her write up on the on how she did it. It's one of those things where, and I made fun of Americans because I said we're just pigs and we have so much variety of things that we try everything. But I guess she did some research on the drink. And found that it was, I guess, originally like an Irish type of thing with the peppermint mocha. So her write-up was really detailed. I really liked how she, the angle that she came at it in the recipe and the things that she used in the recipe. And being that she has never tasted it, really brought out her creative side into developing, you know, the recipe. I think there might have been like maybe one flavor I didn't have that I didn't have. I got to look it up. She said she needs a wrench. Being a mom.
I think I fixed it for her. I think she can post now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Pip. So if that's cool, if you want us to, if I can post it in the DIY Mixers Crew Facebook group, that'd be awesome. That's another thing, guys. I know that we don't really post so much stuff on the Facebook group. But now that I have a lot of free time on my hands, I'm going to try to get out as much content as I can on a Facebook group. We honestly do a lot of chatting and stuff like that in our Discord, where we have a lot of extraordinary, awesome mixers in that group, in the Discord group. Kris is one of them. You got a lot of big names in there, and if you ever have any questions, you can also check out the Discord. It's a free app. You can download it. If you want if you kind of want like an instant answer, you could probably go on a Discord, but you can also ask it on the Facebook group, and somebody will eventually see it and answer it for you.
I love talking in there.
Yeah, Discord's pretty awesome, and it's one of those things where, I know it's been out for a while, but it's one of those things where you say Discord to somebody, and they're like, if they're not a gamer, they have no fucking clue what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's one of those. But it's actually a good platform for chatting, like instant messaging each other, because you can have multiple people in there at one time just talking to each other. And that's one of the things we did last night. I just threw out a link in a Discord yesterday. I said, hey, you guys want to have a little Zoom meeting, just to talk shit, talk about flavors. And we talked for a few hours last night, Kris, so it was pretty awesome. We had fun.
It was.
It was nice to just
talk. Lewis. Yeah, we were all there. We had some fun. We just bullshitted for a few hours talking about flavors. But getting on the peppermint. Speaking of that, I was kind of late to the show today. We usually have a few minutes before we go live, so I really didn't get a chance to discuss with the group on some of the topics that we were going to talk about today. But Folk Art or Lewis or even Kris, if you guys have anything that you want to talk about, any new equipment, any new flavors that you guys got in that you want to just bullshit about for a little bit before we talk about the peppermint mocha cappuccino.
Well, I've actually been working on, besides the peppermint mocha that I put out yesterday, I believe it was, I made it public. I've been working on an eggnog recipe, and I know, David, you're also working with that. I didn't know exactly what to do with the eggnog. I didn't want to do just a eggnog drink. So I decided to go, since I was working on the peppermint mocha, I thought I'd go with an eggnog coffee donut. So it's turning out pretty nice too. I'm utilizing Wonder Flavor's cinnamon pastry for the donut, which is a really good flavor. Even though it's not a super concentrate, it's really nice. It's probably the most accurate Wonder Flavor profile for cinnamon pastry that I've ever tried of the Wonder Flavors line. A lot of the Wonder Flavors lines, they'll say, they'll have on the bottle what they are, and they're not exactly on point. It might be good, but maybe not exactly that profile. But the cinnamon pastry is spot on cinnamon pastry. It's really nice. But that's something I've been working on.
I'm sorry. I gotta interrupt you. Folk Art, your southern accent when you say donut is just like fucking. that's like literally that's like a fucking like $1 million fucking tagline. You could do a commercial, and you could just come on, Folk Art. You could just literally come on and just say donut, and that'll be the fucking commercial, and you'll get paid a fucking $1 million for it. It's fucking awesome, but go ahead. Sorry.
All right, man. Anyway,
say donut again.
Donut.
Well, you said it with a little bit more southern, dude. That's because we're putting you on the spot.
Donut.
Yeah. Donut. Yeah.
How do you say it, Dave? How do you say it, Dave?
Donut. I'm a Pittsburgh. They call like I know you're Portugal and you say Portuguese. In Pittsburgh, the way we talk, they literally call it Pittsburghese, because the Pittsburgh accent that we have in Pittsburgh. I get jacked off all the time on how I talk and how people talk from Pittsburgh. We always say down there and yins and this, that, and the other, and people are like, "What the fuck? What are you?"
Well, like, now I don't want to give the impression that everybody in North Carolina talks like I do, because they do not. All right, I am from a specific area in North Carolina.
Yeah, you're in the fucking mountain woods.
It's a county. It's called Burke County. Okay.
Yeah.
And within this county, there's different accents and things. Okay. And there's one little area that I went to school. It's called George Hildebrand, and they're actually they call people from that area that talk like this. They say that they're talking George Hildebrandese. It's just a close knit group of people that talk the way I do. I'm probably the last of the.
Well, my cousin, a lot of my family's from down Georgia, so they have really heavy accents too. So they're pretty bad, in their accents. But yeah, moving on. Was you able to pull up that recipe of pipas?
Yes.
Yes. So we can maybe share us.
I got it right here. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Before you or while you find that out, I wanted to talk about something that I think we should think about this, and maybe in future shows we can talk about this in more depth. Because we always talk about steeping, and the thing that I want to come up is the opposite of steeping. I don't know that there's still a name for it. It happens with a recipe that I haven't released yet. It has, it's good as a shake and vape, but it becomes very, very good after a week. So we all say it needs a week steep. But the question that I wanted to bring up is, I made a big batch about 2 months ago, and I can say to you that after 2 months, it's not completely different, but there's a big difference how it is now and how it was after a week that I made it. It became much sweeter, and the main ingredient, which is fresh fig, flavor out fresh fig, well, it didn't fade, but it changed the tone of the taste, changed quite a bit. And so I would like you to think about this, and maybe in some future show we can talk about this again.
So,
well, that was something that. Go ahead, Folkart.
So, do you think that it was the fig that you used, the FA fig, that changed so much in that? What was it? 2 weeks? You said. Or was it something else?
2 months.
I'm sorry, 2 months.
Yeah, one of the things, I think it's Flavor Art Wow, that made the juice much sweeter, and the tone of the fresh fig changed quite a bit.
That's one of the things that and that we in ID10T, and I think there was a few other guys that were getting into the conversation about that. About steeping. I'm actually going to do some heavy duty research on that probably in the next few weeks. There is definitely a science behind it. I don't feel like, for me personally, from like a mixing standpoint, I don't really believe. I mean, I believe in steeping, but the way I look at it is when you use certain concentrates, like the way they interact with each other, like we were actually, the topic we got on was about fading, about how certain concentrates fade in the mix while they steep. Now there are certain things that advanced mixers use to try to get around steeping, or like fading, which you can introduce, like say lemon or your strawberries. Like if you have a strawberry that fades like a few weeks into the steeping, like kind of introduce that strawberry maybe a few days or even a week after you do the mix, to try to get it to last a little bit longer. But I look at it as the flavor molecules, when they're in that mix, that's what causes the fade, not so much that liquid, that concentrate fading. Granted, now I'm not talking shelf life. I mean, like, yeah, granted, anything has a shelf life. So if you do have a concentrate that's going to sit on your shelf for like 6 months to a year, granted, it's probably going to break down after time. But on a molecular level, like with certain like flavor profiles, when you put them in the mix, those other molecules, flavor molecules and other concentrates, like I feel that that's what causes the fading, like in a mix. And that's what I want to get to the bottom to. And that's some of the research that I'm going to do. The only thing is I'm not a chemist. So I think that's something that, that I'm going to have to like contact the chemist and ask him those questions on why this happens in our DIY e-juice that causes fading. And it'll probably answer a lot of questions about what you're talking about, Lewis, about steeping. Why, you know?
But in this case, the what's happening is it's not fading; it's changing the profile a little bit. So I don't know. It's the thing that it is changing, or is any other ingredient that is changing. But definitely something is changing, not fading, but changing.
Mm-hmm.
There I can say that now, after 2 months, it's there's a difference between when I mixed it.
So is it a better flavor or just different?
Different, and I don't like it so much.
Okay.
Well, that's the thing too. Like
flavors clashing.
Yes,
it sounds like.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, that goes back to, like the chemical reactions. I think in the flavor molecules reacting to each other that causes it to react different. And that's like I said. That's as a whole. That's what I'm going to try to get to the bottom to. I know it's probably to a chemist they could probably sit there and blab it out for you in like 2 seconds. I think Highwind's in the chat. I think it was Highwind that said I don't know if it was Highwind or somebody else that said that he was good friends with or no, it wasn't Highwind. Was it Highwind? I think it was Highwind that he said he had a good friend that was a chemist and they talk flavors all the time. And I wanted him to maybe come on and discuss that a little bit. Or unless it was Luke from Australia, it was one of them two guys that were talking about it. But
I think we should. I think we should definitely put it in our schedule.
Yes,
talk about this.
We will, because I think it's very important. Because you know, like I said, it's the chemical reactions on a molecular level that causes changes in steeps and flavors and fading, and it's all lumped under one thing. And I said, I think
that happened to me before, actually, with one of Steve's recipes is sweet strawberry cream. There was some kind I don't know what it is about that recipe, but like right when I mixed it, because I'm pretty sure it was the cream cheese icing and the shisha vanilla clashing with each other. And it was just putting off this weird note that I just couldn't get away from. But I mean, I let it steep because I couldn't vape it. I don't know what it was. It was just something I didn't care for so much. And down the road, like months later, I mean, I went back to vaping and it was delicious. I mean, it was just gone. I didn't notice it at all. It was just a real weird thing. But you're right. That's what it's all about is the volatiles escaping, or they're just real active.
Yeah, it was Highwind. He said he reached out to him. So hopefully, in the near future, maybe in the next couple weeks or so, maybe I could start this research starting next week after I finish these 2 recipes, and maybe that he can get in touch with him, and maybe sometime in the future, in a couple weeks, maybe we can have him on and we could just talk. I guess it wouldn't be so much for beginner mixers. It would be more for, you know, advanced mixers, and
it's good for everybody to really know about.
Yeah,
you know, especially because like that, we've always said that with strawberries, that's like a big thing. They're just so volatile that, I mean, you crack that bottle open to smell it or something, it's escaping immediately.
Yeah,
well, that's one. Never taste strawberry.
Yeah, that's one of the things. One of the things that when I contacted Capella, it took them a while to get back to me, but that's why they put alcohol in their sweet strawberry, because they say that it for it to be like stable, it's like kind of like the only thing that they can mix in with it, like, is the alcohol in order for it to be like a stable aroma. Like everything else that they kind of use, like it makes it not unstable, but in order for them to achieve that profile, they kind of have to use that alcohol base in there to get it to where they want it. Like,
but,
you know what I mean?
But by using the alcohol, does it that make it more volatile? Because the alcohol is going to burn off before. I mean, it's going to evaporate more, before anything else will, and it might take some of those molecules of the whatever they use to make the strawberry. It might take some of those with it, cause it to be more volatile.
Well, that goes back to what Kris was saying, like how alcohol is going to evaporate quicker than propylene glycol. So, like what he mentioned about as soon as you open that bottle on a strawberry, those volatiles just start evaporating, going off the flavor concentrate. And I think this is a really interesting topic from like a nerdy standpoint on me that I kind of want to get more involved in. But,
I like it.
we'll get more in depth about that in the future. You know what I mean? That sounds like a good topic that we can discuss.
But that whole deep steeping thing it's very interesting to me because you almost have to account for that if you want your recipe to be good no matter what, all the way down the road, 5 months away from now. You want that recipe to still be relatively, flavorful and not muddled down.
Yeah, and that's one thing I could say about, speaking of strawberries and cream recipes, that's one thing I could say about Mother's Milk from the Suicide Bunny. If you have ever tasted it, like when it's clear, when it's first mixed, it's a totally different profile than if you let it sit on your shelf for a month. Those creams that they put in there, I want to say it's not cake batter, but it's one of those, I want to say TPA sweet cream. I want to say that's one of the main flavors that they put in there with their strawberries. And you could tell when you first mix TPA sweet cream, it's after it steeps for like a month, it totally transforms into like something totally different. And that's how I can tell that Mother's Milk uses that concentrate, because I know how it transforms over time. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a good topic. You know what I mean?
I feel like back then they used a lot of Bavarian cream for all those recipes back then. That was like a big thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many. That's one thing too about the strawberry profile. Even to new mixers, everybody chases that. I honestly think that, like, you might hear people say, "Oh, fuck strawberry! It's so old. Everybody's done it." But you know what? It's still a hot topic. A lot of people still chase that strawberries and cream, regardless. Like,
definitely the most popular profile, I would say, because it's good for anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. You pretty much like strawberries.
And it's just
and also it's good in just about any device. Because it's such a linear kind of flavor.
Thick.
Yeah, it's just the way it sits on your palate.
That's in vapor form.
Yeah, it just
a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to my flavor provider here in Portugal, and she said that the flavor that she sells most is TPA RY4 double, but then it's strawberries. The strawberries profile is still very, very, very popular.
It is, especially to a lot of new DIYers, and especially to a lot of people that don't, and they just buy commercial juice. They really get into the strawberries. Speaking of RY4s, like, I know you said you're kind of an RY4 dude too, Kris. What are some of your favorite RY4s?
RY4 double. As far as actual RY4 flavors, I use RY4 double. The Holy Vanilla from DIY Flavor Shack. I actually started using this RJ4 from One Stop DIY. JJ and the DIY or Dive Discord, he got me onto that, and it's pretty good. I like that. It's very similar to the Holy Vanilla, or the Holy Vanilla. Wow, the Holy Grail RY4. But yeah, those are my favorites. But nowadays I more like to take those flavors, or the caramel and the vanillas, and just desserts and bakeries and all that, and mix it in with actual tobacco flavorings, because it's just way more satisfying at this point. we all know that RY4 doubles and stuff like that, they don't have a whole lot of tobacco flavor. It's all light tobaccos, but I've been missing tobaccos a great deal. So that's definitely something I enjoy more now, especially after I got into Flavora's tobaccos. They're so good. I got into some of Hankson's too with it, and it's another good company that has pretty good tobaccos.
Yeah, I mean, I try to get into tobaccos, but they're so hard for me. I had a bad experience when I first started vaping about 4 years ago. I'd say 3.5. I bought this shitty gas station. I don't know if it was a Turkish blend tobacco e-juice. It was either a 24 milligram or 18. I can't remember, but it was so fucking bad that it's one of those things where when you're a kid and you experiment with alcohol or something and you have that experience and you fucking throw up, and then when you smell that fucking alcohol, like it just brings back that memory that like I can't fucking take it. So with tobaccos, it kind of makes me reminisce about that bad experience that I had on that Turkish tobacco blend that I had from that juice. It was just so shitty.
I had a similar experience, actually. That's why I'm laughing about it, because there's a local vape shop near where I live, and yeah, they had one called it was like Gentleman's Blend or something like that, and he said it was 3 different tobaccos mixed together, and I thought, well, this will taste, because when I first started vaping, I was vaping like a Marlboro Light type flavor, and it was delicious. It was awesome, and I thought, well, let's give this a try. No, it was straight pipe tobacco, super, super rough. It was just disgusting to me. But then I let it sit, and this is funny because this is actually what kind of got me into researching about mixing. I had that just sitting there for months and months. I got this caramel sugar cookie. It was gross. And whoever mixed it, they mixed it up. They messed it up. It was just gross. And that one was sitting there for months and months and months. And I finally decided to mix them together because I ran out of juice. And they were delicious. It was so good together. It was delicious. And I was surprised by that. I mean, I was like, wow, this is what mixing's kind of like. I mean, it wasn't really mixing, but it was, baby steps.
And speaking of the RY4 double or TFA, TPA, whatever you want to call it. I would say for me, I can tolerate that tobacco. But I can't, personally, on my palate, I can't go over, I would say 4.5%. I see a lot of people using it at 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Mixes. I can't get off that off note that I get from
that percentage. I would say would be best for doing it by itself, or with like one extra flavor. But
yeah,
I've gotten to not want to bring it up any higher, and it's really not worth it for the the throat hit factor and having to wait for it to steep. I mean, it has to steep anyways, but the more you put in there, longer it's going to have to steep for.
Yeah, that would be the max for me in a mix would be 4.5, but I usually try to keep it at I would say the lowest I would go would be 2, and I try to keep it in the 3s.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I am. Yeah, I end it right there at 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's I can't go any higher than that for some reason. So
as soon as the weather changed, I immediately made a almond custard RY4.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It was so tasty. But that was funny because as soon as the weather changed, it was instantly I knew exactly the kind of profiles I felt like, because I was getting just sick of fruits and lemonades but I liked that during that time period. Yeah.
That sounds interesting though, with that almond.
Yeah, almond custard. Yeah, it's pretty good. It was. I liked it. I put it out. It's called Autumn Leaves.
Yeah, we're just bullshitting so much. We're at quarter after, which it don't matter. But we wanted to dip into some of your recipes. But before we do that, since we're bumping up, I know I've talked to a few people and they said, who cares? Just keep bullshitting. But we don't want to keep everybody in the audience too long, but we'll bump up on some of your recipes instead of me doing some live mixing today. Since we have the peppermint mocha cappuccino challenge that we put out there for the DMC, we'll discuss that, and then towards the end of the show, we'll throw up some of your recipes because I found quite interesting. We were talking last night, Kris, and you were talking about how you were chasing a pink lemonade profile that I found quite interesting on some of the stuff that you're doing with it. Was a pink lemonade cookie. Is that okay to be the same?
Yeah, pink lemonade frosted cookie. I've been talking about it for a while now. So.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that a little bit, like towards the end of the show. But folk art, real quick, if you want to pull up, since we're live and Pippa's just in the chat, maybe we'll talk about Pippa's rendition of her peppermint mocha cappuccino that she came out with. If you want to throw that up, and we could talk about it.
That's called Lucky Bucks. I believe it's that's the name of it here. And she just live mixed it this morning on her live show this morning.
Did you?
Yeah.
You know what? Speaking of that, if she's in the audience, real quick, I apologize. She did PM me about doing a 3-flavor challenge with fruits and creams.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was another thing that I didn't get a chance to get back to her about. I told her that I would do it, and I didn't know if she did it because the way our time zones are, like it's already Monday for her. So I don't know if she did that this morning, or if that's not until. I don't fucking know. Like it's so. So if she did, I apologize. I really wanted to do it. I will. Like I have the recipes. I can throw them up on her Facebook group for that. But if she didn't do it, if anybody's interested on her show, I know that she's doing a live mix. I think you have to mix 3 concentrates. It's going to be fruits and creams, and it has to be done under 3 minutes or something like that. I think it was what she PN'd Monday. Okay, let me see. It will be Monday our time. So was that done this morning, Mark, in the chat? I don't know if that was done this morning or if that's going to be done like Monday night, 7 p.m. my time. No, not done yet. Be around. Okay, awesome. So 7 p.m. I think Eastern Standard, because she posted Central time. So I'm so fucking bad with time zones. It's unreal. But
that's what I was gonna say. It's funny enough because it's hard enough just in America getting those time zones, but now you're talking all the way around the world.
Yeah. They're like a fucking day ahead of us.
She's in tomorrow.
Well, I have 5 hours ahead of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost time to go to sleep.
Yeah. So real quick, folk art brought that up. I could see the recipe.
Yeah.
Let me see if I mark this up a little bit.
So it's got 0.5% FA bourbon, vanilla bourbon, 0.5% FA butterscotch.
You're dropping bass, folk art. What's the deal, man? You got your mic turned on or what?
Okay. So it's got 1.25 Flavor West caramel salted, 0.5 FA cream fresh, 1% Flavor West creme de menthe, 0.25% liquid barn lava cake, 1% TPA peppermint, 2% FA up, and 1.5% FA Vienna cream. It looks really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want to talk about it, because I have my thoughts on it. If you want to give me your thoughts first on it, that'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, everything looks pretty good. I've never tried the FA bourbon. I actually have it, but I haven't tried it yet. So I
you must. You have to. It's a delicious vanilla.
Yeah,
it's not bourbon. It's not bourbon. It's vanilla, but it's delicious.
Yeah. The FA up at 2%. For me personally, I don't like to use it that high because it is a pretty strong flavor. But other than that, it looks really good. What are your thoughts on it, David or Chris?
Yeah, either or. It don't matter. I can go first.
I'm sure that.
I like how. And it's weird. I don't know if it's just an Australia thing. I've seen a lot of them using creme de menthe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my only doubts was is exactly the same as yours. Is the percentage of up? Up is a quite strong coffee flavor, maybe too sweet, and 2% it's kind of high, but it might work. You have to mix it.
Sorry, I cut my internet connection went shit for a minute. Was it the FA up you were talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like when I was doing mine, I did try the FA up. and it was all right. It wouldn't be my kind of go-to for coffee, but whatever. I think this. Well, we'll talk about mine in a little bit, but as far as the recipe, like that was one thing that stuck out to me was the Flavor West creme de menthe. I like how the Liquid Barn lava cake was used to get that chocolate note. And the creme de menthe, the same thing. That's kind of like a peppermint patty type. You know, I mean, you do get the peppermint and stuff like that. Creme fraiche, 5% or 0.5%. That's spot on. I actually, I think I used creme fraiche in my first attempt, but I did away with it because of the other concentrates that I used. Butterscotch, pretty cool how she used that at 0.5%. Flavor art, I guess to kind of give it that. I get it. There, the bourbon, like everything in there, and the Vienna cream. I could see where the Vienna cream and the Flavor Art Vienna cream and the creme fraiche both combined together gives it that milky undertones to give it that milk aspect to the cappuccino, frappuccino, coffee, whatever you want. With those two combined, coupled with the Flavor Art up, that's where her body of her coffee is coming from, where I get that. The TPA peppermint at 1% with the creme de menthe coupled together. That's where she got her, and she can comment on this while I'm talking about it, but I'm probably, hopefully I'm right. With the TPA peppermint and the creme de menthe used together, those were the two that she used to get her peppermint, her mint flavor to get into the body of the coffee. Now, me personally, I never tried TPA peppermint, but it being at 1% with that creme de menthe, I would see that maybe the peppermint might be a little bit forward. And I know in my recipe, like here in the United States, I actually did get the drink. I don't know where it's at. I think I put it back on my cooler. I did buy a bottle of the peppermint mocha to kind of go up against, like to try to nail that specific profile. And it was funny because I talked to Digital Drops, Graham, and he was jacking me off. He's like, fuck no, dude. He goes, you don't want to actually mimic that. He's like, because it's going to be shit. Like, and I get it, but I try to get as close to a commercial whatever that I'm doing. Like even when I did my lemon cheesecake, you know, I try to get that profile that I had tasted or I ate or I drank exactly to what, you know, to mimic what I'm drinking or eating. You know what I mean? So that's where mine's at. Like my recipe is like, it's mimicking that fucking drink. Like, you know what I mean? But like with her combinations, I could see them working. Like I said, kudos to that for her not tasting it before. I'm assuming it's really awesome. Now that I look at it, I think the only thing I was worried about was the creme de menthe, but I think I do have that. I'm not sure. I know I have the vanilla bourbon. I have the butterscotch. I got the salted caramel. I like how the salted caramel was used in it. So I'm going to mix it up, Pip, and I will leave a review on all the flavors for you. And it's great that she did use a lot of concentrates, and it looks like 8.5% flavoring in there. So it looks like it's pretty spot on. If you want to move on to yours, folk art, on how you decided to get yours. Oh, speaking of that, the cute, did he ever add that fucking flavor in there or what?
No.
So you can.
I actually sent him a message through all flavors about a month ago about all the SC line, the new SC Wonder Flavors line, for him to add them. I put links to all of them and everything. And I don't know whether he got the message or he just hasn't had time to get it in there or what. But yeah. So. There was actually several people that come up with some recipes and posted in our Discord and on our Facebook page too. So we can take a look at those right quick too if you want to.
Sure. Sure.
Let's see. Right here is one from Chemo. Chemo. He's in our Discord group and he's on our Facebook. And so this was one he already had. I think he already had most of this recipe for another recipe, and he just kind of changed it just a little bit for the mocha peppermint mocha challenge. And so let's just take a look at it right here. So he's also using the Flavor West Cream de Menthe, 2.5%. Cup of Joe, 2%. 2% TPA Fudge Brownie. 3% Mullenberry Glamour Chocolate, which is a chocolate that I have to get. 1% Inawera Mocha. 0.5% Cap Super Sweet. 1.5% Flavor West White Chocolate. And I think, David, did you use white chocolate in yours?
I did at the beginning, but I took it out. Okay. And I'll explain that why I did that. But go ahead.
So yeah, it looks pretty good. I'm not sure if the Flavor West Cream de Menthe that might be a little high on that, but you know, I don't particularly like peppermint. This was not one of my favorite recipes to make because I don't particularly like peppermint, but every once in a while it's okay. But when I use a peppermint, I generally use it pretty low, just as a kind of an accent. So for me, I don't that might be just a little bit high. But the Cup of Joe, I've never tried Cup of Joe. Has anybody here tried that?
I have.
Mm-hmm.
It's how should I talk about it? It's a weak coffee, not a weak aroma, but a weak an aroma of a weak coffee,
mm-hmm.
kind of sweet. Mm-hmm. Which percentage is he using?
2%.
Well, it might be right. Depends on how much coffee accent you want to give to your juice.
Mm.
But if I can describe it, it's a right flavor for a weak coffee, a sweet weak coffee.
Right. Okay. And so he's using the TPA Fudge Brownie. I've never used TPA Fudge Brownie, so I can't really comment on it. There's a lot of these flavors that I don't either have or have tried yet.
I love flavor from Capel. What's the name of it? Caramel Fudge Brownie, I think.
Chocolate Fudge Brownie.
Chocolate. I love that TPA. Yeah, I never tried it.
That's the one I would have used over that.
Yeah, Capella's is delicious.
Especially the version 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best.
I didn't know there was a version 2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of going through these recipes, and it's kind of hard to comment on them if we haven't mixed them up yet. So
yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the looking at the percentages of what constitutes. So I know how they work together.
So if anybody is listening who actually come up with these recipes, please take this with a grain of salt because we haven't tried them yet. So we're just.
Well, I could see on how everything is working out in the recipes because I know. And here's another thing too. Like you see a lot of people. Like if they use all the flavors, for instance, as their main, I love all the flavors over ELR all day, every day. But here's the thing with that. Granted, it's not as modeled as like ELR with a bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. But there are a lot of times where MIXERS will do their single flavor tests, or they'll be working on a recipe, and they'll do certain percentages of a concentrate in their recipe, even though I don't know if this is true, if Q takes this into account, but when people don't release a recipe and they still have a recipe private, even though they mix that recipe, say of a super high concentrate at their flavor testing, it kind of skews the average. Like, you know what I mean? Like on a recipe.
Yeah. So
really?
the private ones. Yeah. Well, now on when you click on the flavorings and see that chart, does it have a line for private and a line for public?
It does, but I think it takes into account the average on what somebody uses.
Still gets added in.
Yeah. So if you look at, like, we'll take FA up, for instance. I think the average used on that is 2.88 in the recipe. That's just the average on what people are using that concentrated, but that doesn't mean it always.
That's definitely too high for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I might be wrong.
In my opinion,
I might be wrong on a 2.88.
Yeah. Well, the
I mean, I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because beside of the flavors, it'll have like the average percentage used. You know, when I'm looking for a flavor and I'm trying to think of what kind of percentage to use it at, sometimes I'll go on all the flavors and I'll look at that, but I don't go by that average. I click on the flavor and go to the chart, and you can kind of tell by that curve, like, okay, so you know, this curve goes up to 2%, but then it goes back down to 3%, and then it goes back up, you know, and so that almost tells me, okay, the 2% is used for one type of profile. The 3% is used maybe for a different type of profile. And so depending on what profile you're going for, you know, you don't want to use, you know, maybe 3% when the average is 3%, you may only want to use 2% and not 4%. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying though, it kind of skews it in my opinion on that. So I mean, it's
Dave. Sorry, the average on that is 1.17.
Ah, okay. It was a coffee. What was it then? It was one of them. I can't remember what it was. My bad. Sorry. I thought it was 2.88. It's one of the coffees that was at 2.88. It might have been shit. I can't remember. I worked with so many coffees in the last couple of days. But
all right. So let's move on. Let's move on to the to another one of the recipes. If everybody's finished with this one.
Yes.
I like that Inawera mocha at least. I like that stuff.
Yeah, that is some good.
Never tried it.
Yeah, it's strong. Definitely strong flavor, but
most Inawera flavors are strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a flavor that needs help, but I like it. It's pretty good.
Yeah. All right, let's see what's
So
next.
do you think it's stronger on the coffee or on the chocolate?
Price. I mean, it's pretty much even. It's more of a coffee flavoring for sure, but.
Okay, so David, here's your recipe. You just posted this morning, right?
Yeah.
So good.
You know, just let me say this: if there's a critique that I can say about coffee flavors that are available, is that most of them are too sweet.
Yeah.
And I think that they shouldn't be too sweet, so sweet. If we want them sweet, we can add sweetener or whatever. The flavor per se shouldn't be that sweet. And most of them that are available,
I think they mostly have a problem with they're trying to emulate the coffee so much that it almost just tastes like coffee grounds, like you're vaping the smell of coffee, which sucks. But I mean, there's not so many coffee flavors out there that really work that well. But
that's
hard to find them too.
Yeah, I
just came across super concentrates cappuccino, and that's actually not bad. I liked it anyways, and it seems to work really good with creams.
My favorite one is espresso from Flavor Art.
Yeah,
because it's a strong coffee, not bean. So sweet. Okay, it's sweet, but not so sweet, and it's a strong coffee, and it's quite easy to work with, and you just have to put a little to give it that coffee accent that you want to your mix.
Awesome. I've had Flavor Art cappuccino. That's the only that's the only coffee flavor besides Up that I've had from them.
Cappuccino is more on the cappuccino has more creamier. Creamier than espresso isn't creamy at all.
It smells like my girlfriend's grandmother's house. Just like it, because she's straight Sicilian, and she makes her own cappuccino right there. She's a little machine. It's awesome. It smells exactly like it. It smells so good.
Okay,
you can invite us to go there.
Right. Sounds good to me.
Okay, so with my recipe, to me,
hey, there it is.
Coffees, like if you read my notes, coffees with the concentrates that we have in our arsenal as mixers as of now, all you guys are right. I feel that there's not Now, granted, I didn't try the NET coffees, the net coffees, so I don't plan on it. So I'm not going to go that route. But as far as the coffee concentrates that we have as a group, I mean, a lot of them fall flat in my opinion. Lewis is right. A lot of them are on a sweeter side and not the more authentic. And the coffees that I flavor tested and I was going to try to use in a recipe was we got TFA's Coffee Extra Clear, Flavor West's Coffees and Cream, Brazilian Coffee by Wonder Flavors, Fresh Coffee by Mullenberry, Flavor Arts Up, and Smooth Cappuccino and Cream by I don't know if I mentioned that, by Wonder Flavors. And there was another one, I think. There was actually a guy that on the DoD network, he asked me if I ever tried the Beryllium coffee, which I haven't. I think I might even have it, and I just didn't remember that I had it. And I probably should have tried it, but I didn't because I was not rushing to get this done. I know last time when I did my pumpkin, it took me forever, so I figured I'd hurry up and get this one done for you guys. But as far as the TFA Coffee Extra Clear, it's not bad, but it's like super fucking strong. To me, it tastes like weed. Like literally, clear? Like you're smoking a fucking joint. Like it tastes like either that or sticks or just like a green coffee bean. It's not very authentic coffee to me. Like here's the deal with these drinks that come out on a commercial level, like Starbucks, for instance. Granted, you do get the coffee, but when I see a peppermint mocha latte or peppermint mocha cappuccino, I look at it as, or a frappuccino, it's going to be more on the creamier chocolate side. It's not going to be
chocolate, and it's not coffee heavy.
Yeah, you do get the deep coffee notes on the backside, but it's going to be more of a dairy type because you're drinking it. It's an iced coffee. It's not. I mean, granted, if you're like, that's what I was going for, like more of an iced coffee. Yeah, not so much like a hot peppermint, whatever. I mean, I don't know how you guys tackled this, but that's how I tackled it, as a like an iced type of, like a colder like drink type. How I did my rendition of this, but that left that out. That Coffee Extra Clear was shit to me. Coffees and Cream, too sweet. I didn't like it. I'm trying to blow through this real quick. Brazilian coffee, I know Emmy was talking about this. It's not bad, but it didn't work with what I was mixing in. Mullenberry, which I was kind of surprised about. Mullenberry fresh coffee, to me, I really didn't get nothing from it. Maybe it's because I just didn't mix it at the percentage it should have been. I could have probably did more extensive flavor testings on it, but I was just getting sweetness. I really wasn't getting a fresh coffee from it. Now, same thing with Flavor Arts Up. I get a lot of sweetness. I get no coffee from it. And the two winners for me was actually the Smooth Cappuccino and Cream, which is a little rough from Wonder Flavors. But when it's paired with what Kris was saying, when it's paired with the FA Cappuccino, and that's the thing, I wanted those creamy notes in there. So I paired those two together to get my coffee base in the recipe. You know what I mean? So those, and I tried to make this mix as simple as possible and not throw like 15 different fucking concentrates at it. So just to get my coffee base, I did use the FA cappuccino at 2%, which I know is kind of high. And going back to, which I agreed with Kris, but I didn't, I wasn't thinking at the time, but it was in the back of my mind when I was looking at Pippa's recipe. In order for you to overcome those heavy peppermint notes and those heavy like creams, but I would say more or less the peppermint, depending on what percentage you use it at, you have to cut through that to get that coffee note to come through. So using those higher percentages kind of makes sense. So, I mean, I kind of pushed it at 2%. And being that the Wonder Flavor Smooth Cappuccinos and Cream, it had the cream already in it. That way I didn't have to introduce like creme fraiche, or because actually in my first renditions I did use creme fraiche and I did use the other cream. it's on the tip of my tongue. The one that Pippa used. I used those two together to get that milky undertone in my first rendition, and I kicked them out. I'm like, fuck that. I don't need it.
Vienna.
What's that?
Vienna cream.
Yes, Vienna cream and creme fraiche. I use those two together for the milky undertones. But
I always use those two together.
I did too, but and it was with the other coffees I used them. Okay, so I decided not to use those coffees, and I figured that with the FA cappuccino, like Kris said, the way it tastes in a smooth cappuccino and cream that already has those cream notes in it, those two as the coffee stone and the base, that's where I didn't need those it's kind of like simplicity. You don't need those other two creams in that to try to get to where you're going. So that's why I paired those two together at 2% and 3%. Now, the peppermint note for me, and like going back to what Folk Art said, white chocolate TFA. Is that what you said it was? Folk Art?
I'm sorry, what now?
No, Flavor West, I think.
Yeah, flavor one of the white chocolates.
Flavor West white chocolate.
Yeah. For me, I look at it this way. Liquid Barn's white chocolate peppermint is the way to go to get that peppermint note. Now, like, I don't know what the fuck on some of the concentrates that Liquid Barn comes out with. They have their suggested percentages to use in a mix. 12% is like retarded in my opinion. Well, I don't mean to say that, but it's dumb in my opinion to use.
They want to sell concentrates, so they tell people to use a high percentage.
Yeah, but 12% that's just ridiculous. But
it's just a single flavor mix, though.
Yeah, but even at 12%, Jesus Christ! I mean, I guess, but once I got
okay,
I mean, I've tried it at 6%, and it tasted like toothpaste to me. Like, it just didn't have it. I mean, the peppermint was there, like in your face throat hit, but the white chocolate was turning out to be like toothpaste almost. So I'm like, this isn't going to work at that percentage. So I did drop it down, I think, to 0.75. With the whole mix, everything was the white peppermint chocolate paired with the glamour chocolate. That's why I chose the glamour chocolate with the Liquid Barn, because I figured I would just get the peppermint note out of the Liquid Barn. Okay. Fuck the white chocolate, because that's not really going to come through. I mean, it might a little bit, but I'm just using that as the peppermint aspect in this recipe, and then coupled with the Mullenberry Glamour chocolate on top of the Liquid Barn to get my chocolate note that I actually needed. Now, this is also where now you're going to say, well, Flavor West is sweet, and you did add super sweet. I get it, but the Flavor West mocha is in there to actually add a chocolate note also. I know that you think mocha, coffee, whatever, but it has more of a chocolate note to me. So with the Glamour chocolate and the Flavor West mocha both together paired with Liquid Barn, that's where I got my chocolate with the peppermint note. In the super sweet, the reason why I added it to that is to take off some of the harshness that you get off of the. Now, if I was to use, say, the Flavor Art cappuccino by itself, I probably wouldn't have used the super sweet. I'm sorry. If I would, yes, I probably wouldn't use the super sweet, but using the smooth cappuccino with Wonder flavors, I do get some harshness from it, and that super sweet kind of like get off of the Wonder flavor smooth cappuccino and cream. So that's why I did, but it does add a little bit of sweetness to it, and you also get sweetness from the Flavor West mocha. So I tried to keep it as simple as I possibly could. It's damn near close, the drink, but it's different from when you're vaping something and drinking something. Of course, it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
I do get more heavy cream notes from the drink itself, but I would get away from that in a vape. Like, it would take over the mix if I was to do it like a heavier mouthfeel, like in the mix. So I try to balance everything out in order to give it that peppermint, a little bit of chocolate, just a little bit of coffee undertones. I think it turned out well. Same thing as Folk Art. It's not like one of my, things that like I would vape like all day or like my profile, but this is the recipe that I used, or the concentrates that I used in mine. So
yeah, I can't vape minty recipes very long.
I mean, and the thing about it is, though, Kris, is that with even at the 0.75, it just kind of shines through. But at the 1.25, I mean, you might be able to come back maybe at a 1%, because I was debating on 0.75 was there, but it wasn't like, I mean, it was very on the bottom end. And then I said, I'm going to bump it up to 1.25. I could have did it at a 1, but with the 1.25, the presence is there, but it's not like super dominant.
I'm sure the white chocolate came out a little bit more, adding that little tiny bit more.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it.
I can see what you're
you know what I mean? That's what I say. Like, it's just that. I mean, and with that peppermint coming through, the white chocolate does kind of complement. But I really wasn't trying to get the white chocolate notes, and that's where the mocha and the glamour chocolate and the, those two coming together is where I tried to get my chocolate. But I mean, it's not bad. I could probably vape it, and it's close, but you don't get that thick mouthfeel that you would get from the drink, which is it's going to be different anyway because you're actually drinking it and you're not vaping it. So
right.
But Folk Art, you got yours going on.
Actually, I was want to talk about another one here from Maki Locks. He posted one on ELR, and I don't know if y'all can actually see that or not. It's pretty. Let's see if I can. There we go. Okay, so he's using 1% Bavarian TPA Bavarian cream. He's using 0.5% Wonder Flavors chocolate chunks, 1% Real Flavors chocolate milkshake VG. That's the legacy, I guess, and 2.5% cream Flavor West cream to mint, 2% double chocolate clear TPA. And 3% smooth cappuccino cream Wonder Flavors, and 2% up by FA. And so this is his recipe that he came up with. Anybody have any thoughts on it? Can y'all see that?
Well, I got a lag. Well, of course I lag it live on mine. So give me a minute. Yeah. Wait for it to come up. I'm not
I never, of course, I never tried the beverage that you are all trying to mimic. But I wonder why no one thought of using Flavor Arts cocoa. Because I thought Flavor Arts cocoa, I think, would be it's perfect to give that chocolatey accent to the juice.
See, here's the thing, though, Louis, with a lot of the chocolates that are out on the market today for me. Oh, and getting back to not to change the subject, but getting back to my recipe, that's another hats off to Pippa, because she was talking about using the cake to get that chocolate aspect. And I was actually going to put that before she even came out with her recipe. I think we were talking about, I think I talked to Kris about it. I was going to put fucking cake in mine somewhere, but I didn't. But a lot of them, see, that's the thing. This is kind of dry. Here's the drink, actually. It's kind of dry, like cocoa, but I think a lot of the chocolates that are out on the market today are dry. Like, you just get like a cocoa powder. You don't really get that kind of like milky chocolate type flavor. Like, even with like the chocolate clear, or, I get like a dry,
dark chocolate, semi-sweet
chocolate in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about the glamour chocolate? Is it dry?
It's no. Dude, I'm telling you what. As far as chocolates goes,
yeah, I want to try that.
It as far as it like bringing that chocolate note to it. I mean, there's a few other chocolates that people are working with, supposedly, like a other dude from Australia that has those other concentrates. But as far as what we can get in the United States, as far as chocolates. Liquid Barnes lava cake, that Nomino bar or whatever, and Glamour chocolate is where it's at to get your chocolates. I think, you know what I mean. It's that they hit it kind of good. I mean, it's not perfection, but it's the best you're gonna get for right now until somebody comes up with something else. In my opinion, You know what I mean.
So have any of y'all tried the Wonder Flavors chocolate chunks?
I have it. I have not. But just from the smell test, it smells like powdered chocolate. Is what it smells like.
Yeah, I've tried. It's a little bit musty, but most chocolates to me taste musty. And dry. Most of them are kind of dry. The chocolate milkshake, real flavors, I haven't tried that, so I can't really comment on that much. Have any of y'all tried it? The Legacy?
No.
No. Yeah. Cream de mint Flavor West. I think that's pretty popular. A lot of people are using that for this profile. Yeah. The double chocolate.
Like I was weird. When we were talking about it with Emily, we were saying that that would have been better to use Favora creme de menthe just because there's a chocolate note in it, and it's really good too. But yeah. Let's say that I don't know where the Flavor West thing came from, but I mean it's a good flavor. I like that flavor too.
Yeah, they might. I don't know if they have a problem. I don't think they have a problem sourcing.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they may have a problem sourcing Flavora over there. I'm not sure, because I know there's a few concentrates. I think that they can get them, but it's like they're just fucking super expensive, maybe. But I might be wrong. I'm not sure.
I can't.
You can't?
No, I can't get. Only a few, and they are very expensive.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, somebody's not going to... I mean, granted, yeah, I mean, if you really want to try it, but if you go by some of the reviews online, they're not just going to show out a bunch of money just for some concentrate that's going to sit and collect dust in their arsenal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, maybe I'll give it a try. Maybe I'll have to order it on my next order. See how it fares.
Okay, so as far as this recipe by Mikey Likes It is done, you know, like I say, I haven't mixed it up, so I can't, you know, say whether, you know, go out and mix it up. But you know, he looks like he put some time and some effort into it, and looks pretty decent. But good job. So I'm gonna move on to, I guess, mine now. Where is mine?
You know what? It's funny. I didn't read your notes.
Yeah.
And I looked at your recipe, and I'm like, why the fuck is he using LA coffee or whatever the fuck? Yeah. I'm like, and then I actually read your notes, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I you know, that LA coffee was one of the first flavors that I bought when I started mixing, and I used it like 2 times, and it sat on my shelf ever since.
Yeah,
it's horrible. It really is. So here's my recipe. Here's my recipe for the challenge. Y'all can read my notes on if you want to. Let's see. The probably the hardest part on this is chocolate is always one of the most difficult parts of a profile that I do, because there's a lot of different chocolates out there, and seldom are they what I'm looking for. They're either too dry or too musty.
Chemical.
Yeah, I get a musty or a plastic note from a lot of stuff, but so I tried what I went with. Well, let me start with the coffee actually first. So with the coffee, I did not use LA coffee. Okay, the only reason LA coffee is in there is because all the flavors does not have Wonder Flavors Crispy Coffee in there. Now, Crispy Coffee is one of their new SC line flavorings, and I love it. It's really good. It's kind of a medium roast kind of coffee. It's not real strong, not real dark, and it also has a little bit of texture to it. I think they were trying to add a little bit of like a wafer texture to it. Not much, just a little bit. It's got a little texture to it. It's pretty sweet. You could almost use it just as a single flavor in a recipe, but I like it. But it does need a little bit of a boost to make it a darker kind of coffee. So I added just a touch, not much, 0.25% up, FA up, to give it just a little bit of a boost. The chocolate that I chose was Hanson's Australian chocolate, and I haven't used that flavor much, but it's pretty damn good, especially if you're going for like a chocolate syrup type of a profile. I thought that went very well with it. I first tried, I think it was Flavor West Chocolate Mint, and it just it wasn't working for me. The peppermint wasn't quite right, or the mint wasn't quite right, and I got a kind of a mustiness from the chocolate as well. So I went with the Hanson's Australian chocolate at 1%. Not LA Coffee, but Wonder Flavors Crispy Coffee at 4%. Real Flavors Condensed Milk Super Concentrate at 1%. That was for the creaminess of it. 0.5% Cap Peppermint. I love I don't love peppermints, but that's the best one that I like at low percentages. And 0.25% Super Sweet, and 0.25% FA Up Coffee. And you know, it's not one of my favorite recipes. It's okay. It's got that chocolate. It's mostly chocolate. It's not a real heavy coffee. It's just coffee kind of sits in the background. It's mostly chocolate, and you get that condensed milk, kind of a cream right in the center, and the peppermint is on the front and right on the end of the vape, and the coffee and the cream kind of stays in the middle. It's okay. It's not one of my favorites, but I guess it was pretty good for just trying to come up with something in a couple of days. So there's mine.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, we kicked ass.
Good job.
Makes me want to try that profile.
Yeah, thanks everyone for mixing up a peppermint mocha for our show. I really appreciate it. And you know, everybody that's listening out there, get out there and mix up some of these recipes, and not just mix, but comment on them. You know, if they could improve on it, you know, tell them what they could improve on. Try to get some feedback out there for everybody. That's the best thing that anybody could do for a mixer.
That's a big thing that the community needs to get on top of, is definitely, or get on board with, is basically reviewing recipes.
Yeah, but that's one of the things that we try to do, but we can only have like one mixer on at a time weekly. And that's the thing. I mean, we are bumping like way over time. It's like 6 o'clock already.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking, wait, hold on, I'm lagging.
You there, David?
I think we lost him.
Oh no, we lost David. David, are you there?
Discuss some of your recipes. Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, he did lag out for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's one of Kris WK's recipes. It's called Milk Spy. I'll throw it up on the screen here. Kris, you wanna talk about this recipe just a little bit?
When I first started vaping, or mixing rather, not vaping, but when I first started vaping, that like I was saying before, that was one of the profiles I immediately was going to try and get to, and so it started out totally different. It had like shisha strawberry in it and stuff, and it was just totally different. Over the years, I've figured out more so what I like and what I was looking for in a strawberry and cream, and I mean, this is pretty much how I stumbled on it. And it's been months that I've been throwing different stuff together, because it's one of those recipes where I just kind of, when I don't feel like mixing, I'll start, mixing up some kind of strawberry and cream Frankenstein. It's even have many name changes and stuff. But yeah, my favorite creams are in this recipe. So TPA vanilla bean ice cream, one of my favorites. Bavarian cream, another one of my favorites, and the combination of the 4 creams that are in here, the cheesecake, the ice cream, Bavarian cream, and the butterscotch purple, which, like I said, I was telling this to Dave yesterday, it brings a real nice ice cream note to it, even though it's butterscotch. Mm-hmm. But the butterscotch just worked with the cheesecake perfectly. I love the rich, decadent cream, and that's exactly what I was going for with this. And strawberry ripened sweet strawberry is just a perfect strawberry combination. I love the artificial sugary sweet strawberry, and that's exactly what it brought into this recipe. I had to put them so high because I want them to, just like we were talking about earlier, the volatile, the the flavor molecules just disappear. And that's exactly what I wanted to overcome, was to get it so that the strawberry was a real good top note. And so that's why they're a little higher than normal. Yeah. I mean, it's not too, unusual to see strawberry ripe at a decently high percentage, because we all know what it does. Yeah. As far as disappearing. So, but yeah, that's Kris,
it. Let me ask you, have you tried the new Flavor Arts Juicy Strawberry?
I did.
How do you think it would fit in this recipe?
It's definitely, I like the flavor that it brings. To me, when I smell it, even just smelling it, it reminds me of strawberry ripe. I mean, it's almost stronger than strawberry ripe. And I don't know, I did try it in this recipe, because I just throw things together sometimes. I'm always making different versions of this. Pretty much the creams are locked down though, but strawberries, I did try it with actually no, I'm thinking of a totally different recipe. The pink lemonade is the one I put juicy strawberry into, and it just didn't work with it, because it was almost, to me, that flavor is more of the fruit aspect of a strawberry, and it just wasn't working with the cream so well for me anyways, and still staying with the other flavors. It was almost trying to beat them out, and I didn't really want that in that recipe. But I mean, it's a good flavor. I like the flavor that it has, but to me it's more of like a fruit mix flavor. Yeah. But
okay,
well,
I agree with you. But anyhow, I see it working in this recipe.
Yeah,
maybe tweak with maybe shisha strawberry, or
I put
red touch or something.
Yeah, I put red. That's what it used to be, was with red touch as like an accent strawberry, and that is good too. And I always put it with sweet strawberry, because it brings that strawberry milk flavor, like Nesquik strawberry milk. To me, the combination of sweet strawberry and that, it's perfect artificial strawberry. But I don't like it. Again, it might even just be the flavor art thing. It might just be that company, the way that they make their flavorings. It just didn't work in there so much with the creams. And it's a good flavor with creams. Red touch definitely is, but and just in this recipe alone, it wasn't staying over time, over like a 2 weeks steep. It wasn't staying where I wanted it anyways, because I was going for a specific strawberry that was in my head, and I kind of had no choice but to use that. So that's what I landed on right there, was those ones. That's why I put it out and thought it was done.
Well, as everyone can see, if they're looking at the recipe on the live feed here, I've got all of these flavorings, so I'm definitely going to mix it up.
Yeah, that was another reason why I used kind of the flavorings I did, because I wanted it to be a recipe. I always think about that when I'm mixing, that I want it to be a recipe that anybody could, get the flavors for, or whatever. Yeah. It just seemed, I like that.
That's good thinking.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Better for the community.
Yep.
But yeah.
Well, great. David, you want to take us out, bud? David, turn your mic on. David, turn your mic on. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I got thunderstorms rolling, and that's why I keep cutting out.
I do too. I'm seeing the lightning outside.
Yeah, we got some shitty weather, so that's why I'm on my Wi-Fi. I'm not on my hard line right now, so that's why it's in and out for me for some reason. Okay. But real quick though, I'll touch on his strawberries and milk. I'm gonna really strawberries and cream. I'm gonna try it. It looks really good. That butterscotch that's used in there, I think it's like a good play. But there's a few other recipes that I wanted to touch on, Kris. Maybe we're bumping up on time. If you would like, maybe you can continue this journey with us next week and maybe talk about some of your other recipes. If you want to come back on and just bullshit a little bit about them, that'd be great.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, awesome. So maybe next week we can just kind of continue on where we're at, because we put so much content out today. And then next week we can touch on more of your favorites, like your cookies and your pink lemonades that you dabble in. So yeah, real quick, guys, awesome episode today. I really appreciate all those guys out there in the chat. I appreciate you guys coming and joining us live today on DMC DIY Mixers Crew. Make sure you check out our Facebook page, our Facebook group. Make sure you check out our Discord. Phil Court will have those links for you posted in the chat, or he can post them on the Facebook page for you guys. As always, make sure you check out www.liquidbarn.com and use Mixers Crew and get 15% off your total order, and Bull City Flavors.com and use DMC6 and get 6% off your total order. Other than that, that's all I got. Awesome show. Kris, thanks for joining us today. And thank you for all those guys out there in the DIY community that put out your peppermint mocha latte or cappuccino recipe for us to enjoy. We're getting into the holidays, so we're going to be coming out with some more holiday recipes. Like Folk Art's working on the eggnog. I'm actually going to be working on an eggnog custard. I've been in development for a few weeks on that. I got a few new concentrates that I'm going to dabble with to try to get that to come together, and I'll be releasing that soon, hopefully around Thanksgiving time. I should have that done. Other than that, that's all I got. Thanks for joining us today, and hope you guys had a good evening.
Thanks, Kris, for coming.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for having me, guys.
See you guys later.
See you. Bye.